Fuck that. I've already got hit 15 times from that other one.
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 143 of Hump Day Hangouts. This is one where we curse automation. Anyways, no, just kidding. Automation is awesome. We use it, and I love Zapier. That's all I'm going to say. On a more regular note, let's go down the line here. We got almost everybody. Hernan, how's it going, man?
Let me unmute myself, and then I can say hi. Hey, guys. What's going on? I'm here in Florida, enjoying the warm weather, the humidity, and all the good stuff. Happy to be here.
Ugh. All right, Marco, what's the weather update for you?
He's muted too.
Gotcha. All right.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
It's beautiful as always here. I just posted a picture from my balcony. Right, I took it yesterday afternoon. It's a volcano spewing ash. Like it's like right over the rooftops where I live. It's awesome.
All right. Awesome, but hopefully safe.
Oh yeah, it's blowing the other way.
All right. Good deal. All right, Roman, how about you, man? How are things going?
Not bad, just keeping busy.
Sounds good. All right, Bradley?
Great, man. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. We got also the Rank Feeder bonus webinar is immediately following this. Just kind of a little announcement for that. I think we're going to open it up for everybody to join, though. So if it's not just for people that purchased, I mean, because you guys will be able to glean some information from the webinar, whether you end up using Rank Feeder or not. So we can actually just take the event page URL and drop it right here on the Hump Day Hangouts for anybody that wants to attend. And so just be prepared for that. That's coming up right immediately following this, so at 5 p.m.
Cool. Bradley, do you mind doing that while I'm going through some of these announcements?
Sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, everybody, if you didn't attend the webinar with Lisa Allen about Rank Feeder and Authority Sniper, you should definitely check that out. I'll pop that replay on as well. And then if you're interested in how some of this stuff is put to use, Bradley's got some stuff he's going to cover in this webinar.
Yeah, very specifically, it's for how I use it to automate Maps SEO. So basically for any sort of local business that has a Maps listing that you want to help to push that, into the 3-pack, it's a way to automate a lot of the off-page stuff. It's really, it's freaking amazing. So anybody can attend and they can see how I'm doing this setup during the webinar.
Cool. All right, and if you're new to Hump Day Hangouts, if you're new to Semantic Mastery, just want to say, first of all, thank you. We appreciate you watching. I know a lot of times we hear from people like, hey, I was watching for 3 months, and then I decided to join the Facebook group, and I'm asking this question. So all I got to say is, speak up. If you got a question, get it down. We get these events up usually within a day or two so that people can ask questions throughout the week. So happy to have you here, even if you do just want to watch, but if you ever have questions, feel free, get them down, because it's first come, first serve. So sometimes we get so many we can't get through them. Just want to make sure that new people understand that and have a chance to get on there. So also, if you haven't yet, check out the battle plan, the SEO blueprint. I'll put a link down for that. We've got a coupon code for people, who are following Semantic Mastery. Come to Hump Day Hangouts. It'll save you $75, which is pretty awesome. And then, of course, we've got SerpSpace. If you haven't created your free account over there, head over there. There's free tools over there. Roman's here, so he can talk about that if anyone has any questions. And then that's where all the done-for-you stuff is. IFTTT, Syndication Networks, done-for-you RYS, just a whole bunch of stuff. And we got some crazy stuff coming up in the future, which we'll just leave it at that. And then the last thing, if you have questions, too, throughout the week, check out support.semanticmastery.com. Occasionally when we see questions that are good questions, but we frequently see them, we pop them onto that site so people can just head over there, check it out. And we usually have like a snippet replay or maybe a diagram or something to help explain it.
Yeah.
Cool. And before we get going, I think, Marco, you had a couple things you wanted to touch on, right?
Yeah. Number one, we have moved the release date of RYS Reloaded. Simply because we want enough time to do a quick case study for a massive keyword. So it's sink or swim. And we're going to need a little bit more time. So we're moving it a week to August 28th. So it's only a week. That should give us enough time to work it out. And then the other thing is we're going to have Brad and Mike Pierce. They were on with us last week for Hump Day Hangouts. We're going to have them in our mastermind webinar next week, and they're going to come and drop some knowledge and give us, some tips here and there, and a little bonus that they have planned for us. So I'm really looking forward to that. If you're in the mastermind, make sure you book it in your calendar, you bookmark it. And if you're not in the mastermind, I suggest this is a really good reason to be in, because we have this level of people, right, coming and dropping knowledge in our mastermind. So be there or not and miss it.
Cool. Chris, Hernan, Roman, Bradley, you guys got anything else we need to cover before we dive in?
I do not.
I do not either. Let's go.
I'm good.
Yep.
Great to be here. Let's get started.
Awesome. All right, let's do this.
Okay, cool. Well, let me grab the screen and lock it. Sorry, I'm kind of working in the background as we, I'm still preparing for this webinar that we got coming up. So.
Got your full screen.
All right. Yep. You guys should be seeing my the event page now, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Cool. All right. So Roy DS, he's up first. He says, "Hey, mentors, do you know of anyone that will do website review for SEO? I just completed my first client's website. It's a dentist. I created a blog and a subdomain and mirrored the main site in terms of silo categories. I commissioned SerpSpace to create a tier 1 network with the blog RSS feed as the source trigger. Okay, just wanted some assurance that I set it up correctly, as this is my first client project. Thanks, Roy." Well, if there's anybody here that wants to chime in on that maybe perhaps would want to reach out to Roy DS and you know, offer to provide some analysis for him, that's certainly doable. I don't have anybody in particular that we could send you to, unless one of you guys has a suggestion.
Not yet, but it's something that I'm looking at adding into SerpSpace.
SerpSpace, yeah.
It's on my radar within the next 6 to 8 weeks. So.
Yeah, that's something that we should talk about as well. Might want to make a note of that for our next meeting.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good idea.
I was going to say to Roy, too, this is a good reason, not, you know, hey, if you can join the mastermind, that's great. If not, you know, but having a network, you know, obviously you know this now, but starting, you know, maybe if you could join our Facebook group or something, you start networking in there so that you can kind of build out, you know, find that people with strengths that you don't have, so that when you come across this, you know, you're not scrambling. I understand where you're at. Everybody's been there, but it's a good reason to get into some groups, start kind of networking and talking to these people. And I don't know, I think it'll work out.
I believe he's in the Syndication Academy group. I remember specifically answering a question for him.
So I would start there. I think that's a great place.
Yep.
You know, start meeting some people and, you know, do your due diligence. You know, as much as we want to trust everybody, you know, make sure you talk to them and, you know, maybe do a Skype call or something.
Yeah, make sure they're not full of shit is basically what I would say. So, yeah, that's what I would do, Roy. Seriously, like, networking with other fellow members of the groups is one of the best ways to kind of expand your network. And, you know, and it actually can open up a lot of opportunities for you to start creating additional services or selling additional services, because if you have a good connection that can handle stuff that you don't handle typically, but you know that they're a good source or a good provider for you, then that's something that you could also add into your marketing mix, so to speak, because you could outsource it to a provider. So again, it's really beneficial to try to network with other members as much as possible. So I would do what Adam said and start there. Mohammed's up next. He says, "Hey guys, when syndicating a blog post, where do I add a link? I'm using a tier 1 network, so I often use anchor text to link to a top level page. I remember hearing somewhere that it's best to have the link near the beginning of the post when syndicating. Is this true, or does it matter where I add the link?" No, it doesn't matter where you add the link, to be honest. I've never seen any difference between adding it at the beginning or adding it, you know, at the end or somewhere in the middle, as far as like the power of the link. Like personally, I've never seen any difference. The traditional thinking, right, the conventional wisdom has always been that the first link in the text is always the one that's given the most weight by Google. That's been the conventional wisdom. Again, I've never seen firsthand that to be the case. I have followed the traditional wisdom for years, though, guys, which is I always wanted to try to put my, you know, the most important link as towards the top of the content as much as possible. So just so you know, I've followed the traditional wisdom or conventional wisdom as well. However, we recently, last week on our mastermind member, we had the inventor of Quora software, which is an amazing software. It pulls back so much data, it's unfreaking believable, and it scans data on all 100 top results for whatever keyword, and it basically correlates all of the data to their ranking positioning. And there's like the coefficients and all this stuff. It's really geeky mathematical stuff, but the dude Ted that developed it, he's super genius, statistical genius, and he put this thing together, and it's awesome. And he's even stated through many of his own analysis that the same thing is true, is that it's not there's not more weight given to the first link than there is to another one. But again, that's you can follow the conventional wisdom if you want or not. It's entirely up to you. I don't really care where the link goes anymore. It doesn't really matter to me. But the best place to add a link really is just where it makes sense, is the way I look at it. So if it's a, if the keyword, what naturally occurs in the article, then use the contextual link, right? Use that keyword as a way to link up to the silo page or whatever page it is that you're linking to on the site, right? Could be another post for that matter. If it's a natural occurrence of the keyword, then that's a great place to link. However, I've mentioned this on various Hump Day Hangouts as well. There's 3 different types of links that I typically try to use within the curated blog, or the blog posts, excuse me, that whenever I'm content marketing for syndication purposes. And that's the traditional contextual link, which is the one most used, the one that's most common, right? And that's just where you link within the content, okay? But then there's also a curated style link. So just like when you curate content, you cite the source that you're curating. So basically you copy a snippet of text from the article, or it could be media of some, it could be, I don't recommend doing images, but it could be video, it could be slideshows, it could be whatever. So you embed that or add that to your post, and then you cite the source. And typically when you cite the source, you're either going to link to like the author name or the title of the post, or a page or whatever, and that's usually going to be the actual anchor text for the link. Well, that's a great opportunity for you to be able to curate your own blog or your own site content into a blog post. There's no rule that says you can't do that. So what I recommend doing is, if you've got, if you're doing a blog post about a particular topic that you have a service for on the site, right? So like a top level page, it's got its own dedicated page for that particular product or service. And now you're doing a blog post about it. You can actually copy and use a snippet of text from that page that you're linking to, and then use the page title or whatever else to actually as basically the attribution link, right? So that you're citing the source, which is just another page on your blog. That's a great way to add some diversity to your links, guys, your internal links. And then lastly, the third place that I like to use inside the blog post is like a recommended reading or resources box at the bottom of a post. So, and again, I say box, but really it's just, you can say something like recommended reading or related resources or, whatever, anything like that. And then just put a little bullet point list and add anywhere between 3 to 6 URLs of other outbound links. And then obviously you can mix your own internal link into there as well. And so you're just linking out to, again, relevant content. Don't worry about whether it's .gov or .org or anything, or Wikipedia pages. I mean, none of that. That's fine if you want to do that, but I prefer to find relevant content that reinforces the blog post idea or topic, and link to those, and then you can mix your link into one of your internal pages into that little recommended resource area. And again, guys, that just gives you 3 different linking methods from within the blog post to link up to your money sites. And it just adds diversity, especially when you're syndicating. And if you only got a few pages on your site, you don't want to continually hammer those pages with blog posts and keyword anchors. You just don't want to do it. You want to add some diversity. Anybody else want to add comment to that?
I think you nailed it down, Bradley, because I agree with you. That's pretty much what I do. So.
Okay. Let's see. Mohammed's next question is, in one of the advanced training videos in Syndication Academy 2, BB shows how his gym client's Facebook posts were automatically being posted to Google Plus with NAP included via IFTTT. I tried making the applet the way he said, but I've been having trouble making it work so far. Can you show me how your Facebook posts to G Plus applets are made, or maybe a link to the applet? Well, I can't share the applet anymore unless I buy a creator account or whatever, because they just don't allow you to share URLs anymore. The one that's are in the workbooks, if they still work, great. If they don't, you have to manually create the applet now. It's just the way that it is. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. As far as that, it's just use Facebook as the trigger, and then you set up the Google Plus applet via. So it's basically you post to G Plus via Buffer, right? So you would do a Facebook trigger, Facebook page trigger, and then it would be any new post or any image post or whatever it is that you decide you want to use as a trigger. I do any post because I really don't care what the Google Plus posts look like when they're syndicated to the Google Plus page from Buffer. I don't care because Google Plus is a freaking ghost town now. It used to be that the Google Plus pages were viewed because of Google Maps. Like the normal consumer, normal non-internet marketing people never really used Google Plus, guys. You know what I mean? Like, so people were exposed to Google Plus mainly through Google Maps when they were doing searches for local stuff, because it used to be the Google Plus page was what was integrated with Maps. But now that Maps is completely its own entity, in other words, it's separated. Google Plus is still connected via the back end, but it's not publicly visible. You have to like go out of your way to find a Google Plus page now, business page, not a GMB Maps page, guys. I'm talking about a Google Plus page. You like have to go out of your way to find that now as a normal consumer. So my point is nobody sees those anymore. So I don't care what the posts look like. If you're concerned and you only want the post to look good, then you would use something like image only posts. But then all you do at the bottom in here, I've actually got this pulled up, I believe. Well, no, I don't. But let me just show you real quick. I got the Buffer app here. Let me show you what this looks like. So this is it. This is using RSS to Google Plus via Buffer. I know this is probably small on your end, guys, and I'm sorry, but this is in Browsio, so I can't zoom in on this. But essentially, that's what this would look like: is a NAP in the Add to Buffer section of the applet where it says Update. You're just going to use the entry title. Well, and with Facebook as the trigger, there's going to be different ingredients there, and I don't remember off the top of my head what they are. But all you do is after, in the update section, you're just going to add your NAP data like this. You don't need a link. All you need is your name, address, and phone number. And you're going to want to, line breaks don't work in Buffer. So you have to use commas and spaces, because otherwise if you add line breaks, it's just going to mash all the text together when it posts to Google Plus. So it makes it pretty much unreadable. And again, I don't know how that affects the SEO of those posts when all the text is mashed together. So just, you know, space everything out, put commas and spaces and whatever. But that's basically all you do is click save. And then every time a post is made on Facebook, it should syndicate to the Google Plus page, and it should include an NAP at the bottom of the post. Okay? And that's basically how you do it. Very simple to set up. Don't know why you're having trouble. Guys, also remember, inside a Buffer, you have to set your posting schedule, how many times it posts per day. And so if you're adding posts, but you've only got like one, or I think by default, there's 2 posting times per day inside of Buffer, but you can go in and set up, you know, 8, 10, 12 posting times per day. And I would recommend you do that, especially if you've got something that's automating posting to your Google Plus page, because otherwise you'll have dozens and sometimes hundreds of posts back up because it's only pushing out or publishing 1 or 2 or whatever per day. So I usually set up like 8 or 10 posting times per day for every Google Plus account through Buffer. All right. Okay, last question. I had a question about SERPs a while ago, and I talked about how I got anxious watching my client's position rise and fall constantly. While you guys were discussing it, someone, I think it was Marco, mentioned that he hoped that I wasn't actually typing in the keyword and checking manually. I use Pro Rank Tracker, but I do sometimes search manually too. Is that a bad thing, or should I limit manual checking? You know, to be honest with you, I don't have any problems manually checking. I check my stuff all the time. So personally, I don't care at all. But I also use Browsio for a ton of stuff where I'm like always in other accounts with, you know, proxies and stuff like that. And so I don't, you know, personally, I don't worry about that. But Marco, if you want to expand on why you gave him that warning.
Because if you're going in time after time, if it's dancing and you're going in there and you're checking the same thing time after time from the same IP, your IP is going to get tagged. And it's more than likely that Google is going to know exactly why it is that you're looking for that search result. So if it dances and you go to your Pro Rank Tracker or whatever it is that you're tracking and you don't see it there, so all of a sudden now you go do a search and it's not there, so you go and try to find it. All of that activity is logged from your IP unless you're taking steps to hide it, right? And so I suggest, why? If you have Pro Rank Tracker that's tracking it and you're getting the data from there, why go in and manually try to push it? Because it's going to be, the visit isn't really going to count. You're not helping anything by going in and doing the manual search for it over and over and over again, which is what you tend to do when you're SERP watching.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Good questions, Mohammed. Quit the South says, I wrote a description in YouTube, but the link to my website on the first line was not clickable. The other links further down in the description were. Is there something I did wrong, or is this what normally happens? No, there's something wrong with the URL, apparently. Go back, double check for typos. I'm pretty sure you probably did that, but I've never seen that happen, period. If it's a valid URL, it should be clickable within the description. The only time I've ever seen a link that's not clickable in the description is in the meta description in the Google search results for a video. So if you put a link first in the description and then you see your video in Google search results, you're going to see the link in the meta description, but it's going to be non-clickable. But that's the only time I've ever seen that, not in the actual video description itself. That should be a clickable link unless there's a typo. But that doesn't mean that what you're describing didn't happen. I'm not stating that at all. I'm just saying I've never seen that happen, period. Anybody else?
No, I would just check, that it's formed correctly. I forget if do you need to use like the HTTP with the YouTube link, so just go back and check it, make sure something's not out of line. If you copied and pasted, maybe something got messed up.
Yep. Columbia, what's up, Columbia? +1, and I don't even know what the question is yet. She's always coming. So could the Google sites you showed on Monday on your webinar could be used for lead gen? Could you explain exactly how they could be used to promote a video or website? No, they could be. Columbia, think about it. Well, first of all, remember the webinar we did with Peter Drew about the G-Sites builder or G-Sites creator or whatever. You can customize your own HTML templates and use it with that software, which is awesome. Like we've got, you know, a couple, we've got Jessen, which is our drive stack builder. And then we've also got another guy, Caesar, that works with us, that those guys can make beautiful templates that we can add to the G-Sites builder that we can that are basically like we could build these mass Google sites with this software and have them look like landing pages, like real bona fide landing pages. And that's just a matter of editing HTML template, creating a template that then you can add to the software. So you can absolutely use them as landing pages and for lead gen and that kind of stuff. But even if you were just going to use the default settings, which is the default themes, which are kind of ugly, the idea with that would be to still take up more real estate on page one and push competitors off, if that makes sense. So you could absolutely use it for lead gen for that reason, just to take up more real estate, you know, more of the 10 slots on page one, right? Push competitors out. But you can also customize it to be made to look like a real bona fide, like, you know, landing page. And that's certainly doable. And how could you use these to promote a video or a website? Well, remember, it's a Google property, right? So you could, first of all, you could embed YouTube videos inside the G-Sites, which that's a great ranking signal, okay? Also, you can use the Google Sites to create backlinks to your videos. So besides the embeds, you can also link within the content. So use contextual links, anchor text links, and such to link to your video as well. Okay, and the same thing for your money site. You can do the same thing. You can set up tier, and then as we were talking on the webinar, you can even run a campaign for your keywords with the G-Sites builder, you know, once, and then give it a few days, and actually it's a few weeks. With Google Sites, there's a lot of initial dancing. You've got to give them time and be patient to settle in. But give it, you know, 2 to 4 weeks, and then go back, use a rank tracker or something so you don't got to do it manually. But go back and check on the rankings of the different keywords for all the different sites or pages, depending on how you set it up, or your Google Sites. And in the ones that have ranked well, but not ranked, you know, to where you want them, like the ones that are kind of risen to the top, but maybe aren't where you want them to be, then you can go back and duplicate those campaigns and use those pages or Google Sites, again, depending on how you set it up, as the target URLs for your next G-Site campaign. So basically, you can build tiered links with Google Sites to a Google Site you know, a sites.google.com site. So there's multiple things that you can do with it. It's just like any other link building tool, so to speak, except this, like, it's just using Google Sites only, which is a very powerful method, as we've proven with RYS Academy stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be my comment to her. The whole premise behind RYS Academy is to use the power of Google and Google's love of Google to rank in Google. It's what we do. It's what we always do. And so, yeah, these rank really well, but they don't look the best because you're limited.
Yeah.
In what you can do with the code and in the templates and a whole bunch of things. It's very limited, but you can still work with them. You know, you can still, if you put the phone number in there, name, address, phone number, calls to action, images as calls to action, do anything that you can to increase your conversions once it's ranking. So that's how you make it work for lead gen. You rank it and make sure that people who are visiting have a way to reach you.
And again, if nothing else, it's used as a way to push other listings off page one. So, all right. So Asi says, hi, all. I have a question. If I link out from my PBN to my tier 1 network and use 20 tags, that gets an additional 20 links that link out. Is that considered a spammer by Google? Let's see. If I link out from a PBN to my tier 1 network. Okay. So essentially, if you're adding a post to your PBN, and you have a bunch of tags added, and you set your tag, well, whether they're indexed or not, it doesn't matter. Each one of those tag pages that's created will contain that post text, which will also have a link. That's a good question. Because I was never a big user of tags on PBNs. And even if I did, I would always set my tags on PBNs to no index, but I never tested that. So I don't have really an answer for that. What do you guys, I'd curious to hear Hernan, Marco, and Roman's opinion on this.
Yeah, if I could add this real quick, I always set my tags to no index because they will create duplicate. They will create duplicate content issues. Like WordPress is a machine when it comes to duplicate content issues, so I just set my tags to no index, and also set them to no show with Yoast or whatever SEO plugins, no show on the sitemap. You know, so no index to follow, you know? So, but that's my extent of the testing that I've made. So I don't know the rest what they have to say.
Yeah, so with tags, it's interesting because in my mind, it really comes down to if it's indexed or if it's not indexed, and if you're going to use an exact match anchor, what kind of anchor, what does your anchor itself look like? Because that's what's getting duplicated. Right. So if you sit there and you put an exact match anchor, and then you duplicate that an additional 20 times, well, now you've got 21 backlinks that you know of that's going to these things with an exact match anchor. Yep. In no world is that good.
Yep. Marco?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I don't do too much with tags. I've been playing with them, but it's in foreign language, and in foreign language, all bets are off. So I really can't comment on it.
Typically what I agree with Hernan for like PBNs and stuff. I usually just always set tags to no index, and also, like he said, not to show in the sitemap and things like that. I'll leave them to follow, but no index. But I don't usually use tags when I don't really do a whole lot of PBN stuff anymore anyways. But even when I was doing a lot of it, I wasn't using tags much for that. Where I use tags very strategically is on money sites, and then using the tag pages and setting canonicals, which you can do with most of the SEO plugins. Yoast does it for sure, but that's where when a page is created, right, or when a tag is created, which then in turn creates a page, you can go to the posts tags menu or dashboard, go locate that tag, and then go to edit the tag, and in the advanced section, you'll see a canonical. You can set a canonical for the tag. And so that's where, now that's way too much manual work. And that's why I didn't do that with PBN stuff, because every time I would go to create a backlink, I would have to go in and manually add canonical tags for every single, or add canonicals to all of the tags. And so that's just way too much manual work. So it's not something I would do. Now on money sites, I do that often. you know, where I'll set up tag pages and it's canonicalize them and then use the tag pages as target URLs for link building, because then it's not a physical direct link. So in other words, instead of creating like a internal link, a contextual link from the post itself, and then using the tag pages, which you could do as well. But what I'm talking about is just having tag pages that may not even contain a link to the like a contextual link to a particular page on the site, but I can still canonicalize those posts or those tags, excuse me, to that page. So there's no physical link, hyperlink between those two pages. It's a canonical, which means I can build a ton of links to that tag page, and it's going to transfer the authority through the canonical, but you won't be able to see it in any backlink analysis tool. And so that's, at least as of yet, we don't know of any tools that will do that. So that's kind of the reason why the way that I use tags, but that's only like, it's not specifically the way you're talking about, Aussie. So I would recommend not doing that. And I think that's the general consensus here. Good question though. Keith is up. He says, I've created a Google map in my RYS stack. Is this the map I would submit to SerpSpace to get embeds, or should I create one in Google My Maps and submit that? You can do either one, right, Roman?
Yeah, I'd say you could do all of them.
Yeah, you can do either one.
Yeah, I personally love to create my maps and use those.
I've been doing more of the GMB maps because all the local stuff I haven't actually created a my map for all of my stuff yet. I'm doing a lot of testing right now without doing that stuff, but I've been doing it and getting good results with the rank feeder strategy in conjunction with press releases, in conjunction with Maps Powerhouse map embeds for the GMB map. And I've been having really good success with that over the last couple projects that I've been testing with. So, but yeah, you can use my maps as well. And remember, guys, my maps have some pretty cool SEO tricks that you can do with those as well. I can't get into here, but if you're familiar with RYS Academy, you'll know what I'm talking about. He says, if I was embedding a map on my website, which one of these should I use? Google My Maps or the created? I would use or the one created in your RYS stack. Well, if you have an actual Google My Business profile, and for the website, I would embed the Google My Business map instead of a My Map or the one created with the RYS stack. If you don't have a GMB page for that, or profile for that business, then you could use either one. Which one would you guys recommend?
I recommend the My Map, especially since you got a stack done. It is something very special that takes place from the My Map up to the GMB, over to the website, and back into the Drive stack when you do it that way. If you don't do it that way, then you're not completing that power loop. I don't know what else to call it, but it works wonders when you do that, because you're creating actually a link juice loop, a power loop that just keeps pushing back and forth into relevance back, and all of the relevance will be in that Drive stack, right? Because it's going to be just well, I don't want to say spam to death, but it's going to be full of great things that'll help you rank, which then gets carried over to the GMB, over to the website, and back. I'm not going to share anymore until RYS Reloaded is ready to go.
Yep. Okay, next question, and I'm just going to read the question because I don't know how to say that. Hey, Bradley, if I were to rank my homepage for keyword Puchong Cleaning Service with Syndication Network, do you create a few inner posts and link to the homepage with the keyword Puchong Cleaning so that when the post is syndicated, it has an anchor text, blah, 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 cleaning service in it? Or should I strip out the geolocation modifier and just use keywords like cleaning service, best cleaning service, home in my inner post and link to my homepage? That's a really good question. Okay, so what I would do, and this is how I recommend doing it always, guys. Like for the first post that you would syndicate, I'd go ahead and use the full anchor text, which you're putting here, and that would just because it would be one occurrence of that, right? So it goes out across the syndication network, assuming that you only have 3 blog channels in your syndication network, Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress. You're only going to get the internal link and then 3 Web 2.0 links with the exact match anchor text. I'm totally fine with that. However, going forward beyond that first post, I totally recommend staying with the high level terms without the geographic modifier. Here's why. Guys, people don't typically link with geographic modifiers internally, like unless you're an SEO, right? They typically won't link with the geo modifier. Usually it's not even included in the text that often unless you're an SEO, right? Because it's clear that the site itself, it should be very apparent to the visitor, especially if it's a local site in one location, guys, that the site is talking about that location. It's not necessary to beat Google or a visitor over the head with the fact that it's this city here, right? Because you should already be aware of that just by the nature of being on the site. So typically, again, my first blog post will go out, will have an exact match. If it naturally occurs, I'm not going to force it into the text. But then going forward, I always try to keep the broad terms, so market level type terms, instead of like getting real narrow down. Also, generics, brand terms can also be used, and also naked URLs. Remember, if you're going to be syndicating posts, guys, you want to add a little bit of diversity even into your internal linking structure, right? And so just, personally, I try to just use an exact match anchor, usually just on one post. It depends. If I'm continually content marketing, then it'll get mixed in there occasionally. But for the most part, I'll stick with the higher level terms without the geo modifiers, or I'll mix it up and add a brand anchor or generics, or even naked URLs. Any comments, guys? No. Okay, cool. Is it very unnatural to do an unlinking to my homepage with these keywords? No, not at all. It's completely natural to link with the keywords themselves. Now, again, and just adding a local modifier to all of those occurrences, that's unnatural, because people aren't typically, when somebody's talking about a cleaning service, they're not usually going to always include the city name every time they mention a cleaning service. You know what I mean? So unless that's the name of the actual business, and that's, then there's, but that's why I recommend not, if you have any control over it, is not naming business names or brand names that with basically a flat out keyword. I usually try to add some sort of branding capacity to the name, if that makes sense, that gives it its own brand. So there can be a partial match, but I don't recommend doing exact match keywords for business names. But again, sometimes you don't have control over that. So, okay, Jonathan's up. He says, if I was a 301 redirect an existing website that has a GMB listing in spot 1 or 2 to a new website in the exact same niche, would the GMB listing be affected or removed? Yes, it could be, Jonathan. Also, the new site would have a new phone number, and so would change the phone number. Then would change the phone number in the GMB listing. Would that affect the listing much? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: if it's the exact same niche, but you're redirecting the old to the new, and you update the, like, all of what you just said is the proper procedure. If you're just swapping out, the website and perhaps maybe the service provider or something like that, and so they're going to have a different phone number, different website. But just understand that your chances are first of all, it's going to affect your ranking in the Maps pack. Most likely it will, anyways. Stranger things have happened, I can tell you that. That it may stick, but most likely it's going to do a significant bouncing, because that's a structural change, right? And so you should see a lot of dancing from that. But here's the other thing. Remember, Jonathan, if you're changing the website address and the phone number, any existing citations on the web that you've built are all going to have to be updated, because now you can't just go and start creating new citations. Well, you can, but it's not going to help when you've got other citations with incongruent or incorrect data, right? It's more important to fix existing listings than it is to build new ones when it comes to maps ranking. So if you're going to redirect the URL to a new site and you're going to change the phone number, then I would highly recommend that you also, I mean, it's going to dance regardless, but unless you go and correct all of the existing citations, and I can only assume if you're ranking in spot 1 or 2 that that you do already have citations built, you're going to have to go update those as well. And I personally don't recommend that you do that yourself. Hire a service like Loganix, for example, to do that, because they'll do it a lot more efficiently with a lot less headache. Anybody else want to comment on that?
As a takeaway, I would say that it's more important, as you were saying, it's more important to fix your existing citations than to create new ones. And that's usually the case with SEO, right? It's more important to fix your own website, and because you have missed opportunities there that you can actually, go for with ease. I'm not saying that fixing your citations, usually getting new citations done, it's easier than fixing the existing one, right? Unless you get Loganics doing, because those guys make a great job. But what I'm saying is that's usually the case with SEO. You want to work on your assets first, because most often than not, you have a lot of missed opportunities before going out there and building new backlinks or, getting more citations, whatever that is. So.
Very good. Okay, Dean's up. He says, ask this first in syndication v2 page, but no response to what I post here. Having problems with RSS to Instapaper on a new build ring. SM Academy v2 workbook version of RSS to Instapaper tells me my applet is invalid. See errors below. Yet shows no errors below. The only thing, let me just pull this up real quick. I read this earlier, but I want to check something out. Because I actually have been in, IFTTT a lot the last few days, and I have not had any trouble with the Instapaper applet, but I've been creating them manually though, so I don't know if this applet, and guys, there's nothing I can do about these applet URLs anymore. If they don't work, they just don't work anymore. There's nothing I can do about it, only because it's, let's see if I can open up another instance. They want me to have a creator account or whatever in order to share them, but I have VAs, so the VAs just create everything manually for me. So I'm not going to pay for a creator account for that. Anyways, let's take a look. Why did that say YouTube? That must have been a video syndication. Let's try this one. That's why. I'm just going to play on this for a minute, guys. Hope you don't mind. It took. Let's see, it took for the YouTube syndication. So let's see, options unavailable, who cares? Let's see what happens. Your applet is invalid, see the errors below, and there's no errors. Okay. Well, the first thing I would recommend doing is go to your services tab, click on Instapaper, and hit reconnect. Go to settings, and then edit connection, and just reconnect first. That's what I would recommend doing. And then I'll double check right now on just the, and it might be a bug. There might be a bug. And so, Dean, what I would say is the same suggestion that I always make for whenever one particular applet isn't working, and you said that you've been waiting on this since July 24th, move on, Dean. Move on, okay? Go back to it in 2 weeks and just try it one time. And if it's not working, then move on and come back again. A lot of the times when there's error, and this has been covered over and over and over again in the training, but a lot of the times when there's troubles with applets, it's just a matter of time before the developers get them fixed. If it's really that critical to you, you could always try to use the IFTTT tweet support system, which I never found much success with, but you can always contact them and ask them to explain. I don't work for IFTTT, so all I could do is come in here and do exactly what you could do, and that's play with a few different configurations until I get it to work or prove that it doesn't work, in which case I abandon it and move on to bigger and better things until a later date when I come back. And most often, most of the time, when I come back at some point, it's already fixed and I didn't have to spend any more time on it. So that's what I would recommend that you do. But first and foremost, let's see, we're going to use the Mozblog feed burner. Okay, so I'm not sure why I'm not having any, might be a setting in the actual Instapaper account, and it could, again, just be an issue between IFTTT and Instapaper. I personally wouldn't spend any more time on it than what I just did, and then I would move on because it's not that critical. It's one of many properties, so I would move on, Dean. And like I said, if you have any, if you want additional support concerning that one applet, I would contact IFTTT support, which I think you have to do through Twitter. So, there's that. But again, I never spend any more. I used to, guys. I used to spend hours and hours trying to get every freaking applet to work in a syndication network. Now I realize if I can't get it to work with 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 minutes, 2 or 3 attempts or 5 or 10 minutes of effort, I move on to the next one and I just come back to it. I might even set a calendar reminder to come back in 2 weeks to check on it, if that makes sense. Because your time is better spent doing other higher level stuff than it is to try to get every single applet to work 100% of the time, when a lot of times there's nothing that you can do to control that. All right. He said also disconnected and reconnected, same thing. Yeah. let's see. I like Instapaper. It's one of my only 4 to 6 properties to show up as backlinks anymore to me and Majestic and Ahrefs. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I personally don't track any of those anymore. I don't care. But you know, if that's important data to you, then I can understand you wanting that, and that would be something that you'd have to reach out to IFTTT about specifically to find out what the problem is. Maybe they don't even know there's a problem, and you might be the first one to alert them of it. Okay. Okay, cool. We're just about done early too. You guys don't have any other questions, really? Okay, cool. We'll wrap it up. Any of you guys want to add anything, or can we just cut it down or shut it down for a few minutes early?
Yeah, I think we can shut it down. I just wanted to say real quick that be prepared because RYS Reload is coming in hot, and it's gonna be really good, guys. So you know, we there was something happened, like we kind of touched a nerve when we launched it back in 2015, and you know, we adding a bunch of other stuff to it. Like we're really reloading it and really, you know, recharging it. So stay tuned because it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh yes.
let me just add that it doesn't mean that RYS isn't working. It's working perfectly well. You can still use it to rank for just about anything you want. But there's other things that you could do which will allow you to go after even tougher keywords and much quicker. I mean, it's the SEO jackhammer. That's I've always referred to RYS Academy as the SEO jackhammer. You know, you can hammer a nail, or you can break something with a sledgehammer, but if you have that jackhammer with that pneumatic, it's so much more fun, man. And so we're having fun. We've been having fun in the lab, just breaking stuff and making stuff happen. And so, you know, that's what's coming. It's not the same old shit just repackaged. That's not gonna happen. That's not the semantic mastery way. But it doesn't mean that RYS Academy isn't working as is.
All right, because we have a couple minutes, I'm just going to play around with trying to create this Instapaper applet for Dean just to see if it works by creating it manually. I'm not saying that it will, but we've got a minute. So if you guys need to bounce, please do. I'm going to wrap this up in just a moment.
It's all right. I'm going to give a plug out for another company. If you guys haven't heard me or Bradley talking about the Best Self Journal, do yourself a favor, check it out. Yeah, try it. You know, I'm not, I should be a salesman for them, but like I guarantee you it's going to help you in some form or fashion, most likely in productivity or hitting goals. So I've been really impressed. I've tried out probably 5 or 6 different types of journals or, you know, ways of organizing, time boxing, things like that. And been really impressed with this so far. So I think this will be the first one I'd probably buy a second one of. So it's pretty awesome. It's set up along the idea of like a 12 to 13 week block or time sprint, and then daily and weekly stuff in addition.
Yeah, guys, I've been using the sorry, I'm trying to like do too many things here. I've been using the Best Self Journal now for about 3 months, and I can't imagine how I've ever functioned in my life, but in my business prior to having it. It is I carry it around with me everywhere I go, and I live by it now. And you know, I spend about 15 to 20 minutes every single morning just thinking about my day and scheduling my day out now, and it has had a huge impact on how much productivity I've been able to get and the ability to stay focused on the tasks at hand as opposed to getting distracted easily, like every one of us here probably do. And what I found is it's just really helped me to stay focused and focus in on the higher level stuff that's going to return the most on time invested. And so again, it's something I highly recommend that you guys get and use it. But you got to make a daily habit out of it. Using it every now and then isn't going to help. So like, and it just takes a few weeks of using it every day for it to really ingrain itself into your daily habits. And I highly recommend that you use it.
Yeah, and I think there's even, sorry, go ahead, Bradley. I'm just going to.
No, I was done.
There's also a PDF download. You can download a PDF version of it for free if you want to print it out or take a look at it, which is pretty cool of them. Obviously, having the notebook's nice and, you know, handy instead of cutting out all the paper and doing that. But if you're so inclined, that's available.
That's it.
What was the name of it?
Best Self Journal.
Okay.
Yeah, if you Google Best Self Journal, it'll come up. They have them on Amazon, I think. But yeah, you can get them. They have a Shopify store. Actually, they got a really nice looking storefront. Anyways, Yeah, good stuff. There's a couple other good journals out there, but that's usually what I'll either be talking about productivity stuff or I'm losing my mind. Productivity stuff or books I'm reading on my live streams for Semantic Mastery. So I'll stop talking about it now.
We've got a question from Wayne, by the way.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
It's probably a smart ass question.
Yeah. He wants to know how to rank for payday loan.
Yeah.
RYS reloaded.
That's it. It's coming, buddy. All right, let me try this one more time. Let's see. Okay, so now I selected a folder. By the way, let's try create action. Boom, worked that time. There you go, Dean. It worked that time, guys. So it looks like, well, let's review and finish first before I say it. It went one step further this time, so hold on a minute.
So real quick while you're doing that, before we hop off to Roman, I wanted to ask you, is there any updates to SerpSpace, anything people should know about?
A little bit. We've got a new front end that's going to be coming out next week, so we're really looking forward to that and prepping for that this week.
Nice.
And should make the site a bit easier to navigate. We're getting proper sales pages in there so people can actually read about the topics in depth. So
good deal. Yeah, I know we're going to be adding some educational content too to help people, even if you've been, a user of SerpSpace before, to make it a little bit easier on, okay, like adding in some of the best practices, things like that.
Yeah, it's basically an infrastructure upgrade for the front end, so it's going to allow us to be able to do a lot more.
Cool.
Okay, so just really quickly for Dean. So I just manually created the applet. And the only thing that I did was I just came in and spent about 5 minutes playing. You guys just watched it. And I logged in the Instapaper, and I realized that I had no folders. Now, again, this is a change. It didn't used to require it, but apparently now it does, because all I did was click the add folder button, put this demo folder in there. Then I went and reconnected our Instapaper to IFTTT, and that's just so that it would pull in that folder. It may have already pulled it in. I didn't check first. I just reconnected it just to be sure. Then I created the applet manually. If this RSS, then that Instapaper. Then you put post once. Let's go back. If we go back to the settings area, then in the drop down for which folder where it says optional, I selected the demo folder and clicked save, and then it worked. And then I finished, changed the title, click finish, and it's done. And it looks like it's working. And the only other thing I could do would be to go to, let's see, back up for a minute. And click on check now. Applet checked. So there it is. It's running and it's working, Dean. Just takes a little bit of playing around to figure out like what works and what doesn't. So this time it seems like it may, and I made a note already for the to add that to the Syndication Academy update webinar for next Wednesday, and I'll also update the training to make sure that that's noted. That it looks like now you're going to need to have a folder designated within Instapaper first, and then select that folder. I believe that was the trouble, but anyways, it's working. So good luck. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up now, and we'll see everybody, well, most of you, or some of you, on the next webinar in just a few minutes. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.